Chicago rapper Lil Durk faces 3 new federal charges in connection to a deadly shooting in Los Angeles in August of 2022. The Grammy Award-winning rapper, whose legal name is Durk Banks, is charged along with 5 alleged co-conspirators in a murder-for-hire plot. Prosecutors say he masterminded a plot to kill Chicago rapper Quando Rondo at a Los Angeles gas station, but Rondo's cousin was killed instead. According to the FBI, the hit was in retaliation for the murder of another Chicago rapper, King Von, in 2020. Lil Durk remains in federal custody in Miami, where he was arrested last month.
The courtroom was packed, the tension so thick you could feel it settle in the air. On one side sat the prosecution, armed with months of evidence, statements, and testimony. On the other, Lil Durk, real name Durk Derek Banks, stood silently, his head lowered as the judge prepared to deliver the final sentence. The moment had been building for years, following an intense federal investigation that linked the Chicago rapper to a 2022 murder-for-hire plot, allegedly targeting Quando Rondo.
You know, he's looking at a lifetime. They came at it with 20 years a day, I would urge him to take it. If he was to walk away from it, it'd be probably after a conviction and in form of an appeal. They really don't come tap you on the shoulder and get you unless they feel like, I believe they got a 97, 98% conviction rate. It's still that 2 or 3 percentile people that walk.
What began as whispers in the streets had evolved into sealed indictments, leaked discovery materials, and now this final reckoning. Durk's defense attorneys tried to humanize him in their closing remarks, painting the picture of a man trapped between 2 worlds, his traumatic past and the empire he built through music. But the prosecution wasn't moved. They argued Durk had used his fame to shield criminal activity, coordinating operations behind the scenes while presenting a reformed public image. The evidence, they claimed, painted a damning picture. As the judge read the sentence, the entire room froze. Lil Durk broke down, audibly crying, pleading with the court for leniency, for a second chance. He spoke directly to the judge, his voice cracking, saying he wanted to be there for his children, to use his life as a message of change. But it was too late. The decision had been made. In that moment, the courtroom wasn't witnessing a rap star. It was watching a man face the weight of accountability.
There are now 5 people in custody who weren't in custody before. 5 people who were alleged to have committed a murder in broad daylight in the middle of the afternoon in the city of Chicago.
Federal prosecutors appear to be moving with precision in their case against Lil Durk. Now that multiple OTF affiliates have been indicted and arrested in connection to the August 2022 shooting of Quando Rondo's cousin, the connection to Durk seems more direct than ever before. While early rumors speculated about whether an informant was involved, the volume of digital evidence and financial trails suggest the feds may not have needed inside cooperation at all. As soon as the 5 OTF members were apprehended, speculation grew regarding when federal authorities would formally name Durk. Observers pointed out that Durk's name was omitted from the initial round of charges, likely due to investigators working behind the scenes to solidify their case. Once that happened, federal agents moved in with a sweeping arrest that has since shaken the music industry. Court records point to co-conspirator 3 as someone who funded the operation. That individual allegedly used an OTF-linked credit card to purchase airline tickets and book hotel accommodations for those involved in the plot. The account connected to the card was registered under a business partially owned by Durk's former manager, while another card linked to the same account was reportedly issued to Durk's father. Despite what appeared to be a calculated plan, the indictment claims that the attempted hit did not go as expected. According to official documents, 2 defendants, identified as Jones and Lindsay, fired multiple rounds at TB, but ultimately ended up killing his associate, referred to in the filing as SR. The case is still developing, but as evidence mounts, it's becoming clear that the federal government is preparing for a high-stakes trial that could have far-reaching consequences for Lil Durk and the future of OTF.
Did 12 years.
12
got
years.
out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him 50,000.
Right.
This. Made mention that ain't no smut on his name. He ain't never been a rat. Caught a gun case, but eventually he.
The implication is that someone close to the operation intentionally leaked his whereabouts, leading to the ambush. While co-conspirator 4's identity remains redacted, the streets quickly began speculating about the informant's identity, and rumors began to swirl regarding betrayal within close circles. According to prosecutors, the attack was coordinated with military-style precision. The squad used 2 separate vehicles, one of which was untraceable with no registered license plates. Together, they tracked and followed Rondo's vehicle to a gas station in Los Angeles. Once in position, they opened fire, allegedly discharging at least 18 rounds into the vehicle. Lil Pab was struck multiple times and died from his injuries. Following the shooting, the assailants regrouped at a restaurant, divided the payment, and then booked flights back to Chicago using a credit card tied directly to an OTF financial account. This blunder added another solid piece of evidence to the government's growing case. Though Durk has not been charged in the Stephen Mack case, the affidavit played a critical role in denying his pretrial release. Prosecutors argue that this document further proves the risk Durk poses, alleging an ongoing pattern of violent retribution and organized retaliation. They claim he continues to target rival gang members in connection with his brother's killing. The tragic reality is that much of this stems from the ripple effect of the 2020 murder of King Von. When fans launched the Slide for Von campaign, calling on Lil Durk to avenge his late friend, the weight of public pressure may have collided with a volatile history of street loyalty and unresolved vendettas. Prosecutors now argue that the murder-for-hire charges connected to Lil Durk stem not only from isolated incidents, but from a deeply entrenched feud stretching back years. At the heart of this ongoing conflict lies the altercation between King Von and Quando Rondo's entourage in November 2020, an incident that resulted in Von's tragic death in Atlanta. Authorities believe this pivotal moment serves as the emotional and strategic catalyst for the events that followed, including the 2022 Los Angeles shooting that killed Lil Pab. King Von, born Davin Daquan Bennett in August 1994, was raised in the O-Block section of Chicago, another infamous hotbed of gang activity. Von's path mirrored Durk's in many ways, marked by constant brushes with the law, the loss of close friends, and a deep entrenchment in street culture. However, what set Von apart was his innate ability to tell vivid stories through rap, which quickly elevated him in local circles. Recognizing Von's raw talent and authenticity, Lil Durk brought him into the fold under the Only the Family OTF imprint. But more than just music, their relationship became a powerful alliance. To both, trust was invaluable, especially in an environment where betrayal was common and violence was expected. In each other, they found that trust. As their careers surged, their loyalty to each other only deepened. So when Von was killed in 2020, it wasn't just the loss of an artist, it was a deeply personal blow to Durk. Prosecutors suggest that emotional trigger may have set in motion a calculated plan to exact revenge, explaining the precision and motivation behind the 2022 murder-for-hire plot. This theory, combined with wiretaps, financial records, and text messages, is forming the backbone of the federal case. The latest twist in the federal case against Lil Durk involves a betrayal that has sent shockwaves throughout the hip-hop community. Reports have now surfaced that the alleged informant at the center of the case is none other than a longtime OTF affiliate, known as OTF Jam. Allegedly, Jam wore a wire for several years, gathering audio and intel that would ultimately be used to build the indictment against Lil Durk and several other OTF members. An old interview with DJ Jerry resurfaced, in which OTF Jam spoke about his bond with Durk, recalling the early days when Durk's music uplifted him during difficult times in prison. He emphasized how Durk supported him emotionally and financially, calling him bro, and expressing gratitude for the opportunities given to him after his release. Yet, despite Durk rapping about being able to detect betrayal, it appears this one caught him completely off guard. Commenters pointed out the cruel irony of being betrayed by someone nurtured within the fold, highlighting that, in the end, it's not the enemies, but the ones closest to you who can inflict the deepest wounds. The collapse of Durk's inner circle isn't just about legal charges. It's a story of internal fracture, betrayal, and the risks of building an empire on shaky foundations. As this saga unfolds, the hip-hop community is left grappling with the age-old question, who can you really trust when loyalty is currency? If you found this story compelling, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on this developing case. And for more videos breaking down the biggest headlines in hip-hop, click the card on your screen now.